Okay, I am Miss Sophia the Diva. I am back here again to do a review and discussion, my analysis, my thoughts, perspective on Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 10, Episode 17, Remarkable. But before we jump into it, please be sure to thumbs up this video, subscribe to this channel. As you know, YouTube took away the ability for smaller channels like mine who are currently in the development phase to be able to monetize our videos. And so now they're requiring 4,000 impressions in a 12-month period or 1,000 or more subscribers. So help a diva out. But now let's just dive right into it. The reason why this episode was titled Remarkable is because for the first time in all 17 episodes so far, this will be the first time that we get to see Kenya's alleged husband, Mark Daly, the restaurateur, entrepreneur, former Wall Street person, make an appearance. And I must say, he was there in the flesh as her alleged husband. And I keep saying alleged because unfortunately with Kenya's track record and people, the stands that stand for her or whatever, y'all just hating on Kenya. Kenya put herself in that position. If y'all would take ownership and responsibility to notice that Kenya has twice paid men to be on the show for her benefit. So we don't, until I see a marriage certificate, I'm just not going to believe it. And, you know, people were cracking jokes about Sheree's man, but I was like, at least we know he a number. He's in his man cave. He's, you know, he's inmate number whatever, calling from a federal correctional agency. So we know he real. Okay. But the episode opens up with something really cute. Now, I don't know if anyone watch What Happens Live. Ricky Smiley and, I forgot who else. Was it Kim? No. I don't remember who was on Watch What Happens Live with Ricky Smiley. But, you know, he was saying how hard it is to date women in Atlanta. You know, you don't know if they're trying to step to you to get a script out there or what. But either way, him and Portia had a date at some skating rink. I thought it was supposed to be some sort of team building exercise, but I think he shut down, or Bravo shut down the skating rink, so that let's see where this leads with Portia and Ricky Smiley. Because I guess Portia was saying that's not really her boss, because she's on Dish Nation and then he has the radio show. I don't know, but either way, Portia came in there talking about, honey, I can't think of the last time I skated since high school. Of course, Shady Bravo had to flashback 4 years ago when she attempted to do roller derby. But, you know, Portia has those blackouts and arterial blood flow to the brain problems, so she probably really don't remember past high school about activities she's done. I'm just saying. Anyway, she coming in talking about she's not sure if she can handle the skating because, you know, she has a different body from back then because, you know, she got boobs and butt injections or whatever, so she gonna need some skates with a kickstand. So her and Ricky is skating. She takes a tumble. Ricky immediately starts providing resuscitation to her butt. And I really started laughing when she was like, you need to give it mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. I was like, ew. Eat the booty like groceries. Either way, I was trying to figure out where the rest of the people were. Cause then Ricky Smiley made an interesting suggestion. He said something about, yeah, let's go back to my house so we can practice. I'm like, practice what? Practice making a baby? He told me, so you can work on your dating game. I'm like, truth of the matter is, he just wants to work on a dating game with you, Portia. Then we get to Kenya and Cynthia back together again. You know, we haven't seen Kenya for 3 episodes. Quite frankly, I think the show did just fine without her presence, but you know, she got a contract, so I don't know how many episodes. She must have contracted down for the amount of episodes, and probably that meltdown in Houston, they probably were like, yeah, we won't be filming you for a few episodes. As you know, Kenya did that PSA, which I'm not going to take anything from her, no matter what her intentions are for doing it, because some people think that she's just doing it for attention, but I think it's well-intentioned. So she went and looked at the space. I guess it's at the Bailey Agency where the project was being presented. They decided to turn it into a 30-minute half-hour kind of docu-series infomercial type thing about domestic violence. And some of the ladies donated their gowns or whatever for some of the domestic, I think it was like 10 ladies that were going to participate. Kenya, I thought that it was Matt that was the one that was the abusive one, but we learned on the day that the ladies come in that at 16 she was in a domestic violence situation, and that she also wanted to honor her grandmother who raised her, who taught her to be a strong woman. Also, when she met with Kenya, she was like, it's so hard being a wife. Oh my God. And I was like, in my mind, I was like, girl, where's my purse? Let me get, girl, really? Really, it's so hard being a wife. It's hard living, period. Okay, it's hard being single. It's hard being a wife. It's hard being a mother. It's hard being single. It's hard. Life is just hard for everyone, Kenya. You're not the first wife. You won't be the last. Other women continue to do it. You'll be fine. But I guess because she's so excited to be able to say that she is an authentic wife, supposedly, that's why she gets excited about it. Also, when Cynthia and Kenya met up for the event space at Cynthia's offices, I found it, they were talking about how Kim was acting a fool with Nene and how she was trying to sue Nene for defamation of character. And like I said, I don't always agree with Kenya the majority of the time on this show, but I'm with her. Like, Kim, really, all the shit that you say about everybody, and you want to try to sue somebody for defamation of character, really? That's what we're doing now? So, I'm sorry, but you keep accusing Nene of being a drug addict. To me, that's slanderous. That's defamation too. So she said, let's all unite and do a class action against Kim. I was like, I'm with it. I said, all that Nene has to do is counterclaim it, and I'm sure a judge would probably kick that shit out anyways. I mean, it's a hot mess for Kim to be doing that, but you know, that's what rich people, famous people do to protect their brand. They just cease and desist, and then if they have to escalate it, they sue you in civil court. By the way, I was loving the ponytail that Cynthia had, and I noticed Candy had a nice pony, or has had a nice ponytail. There's a lady in Atlanta that does them, so I said I'm gonna have to get back down to Atlanta again and get me a ponytail, because those are cute. They're sassy and sexy. Candy out here building her empire. She has heard that there is some development going on, so she bought a recycling place across the street from her offices. Don Juan told her, don't you buy no more properties this year, and she did, because you know, old lady gang is up and going for the past 6 months. But here's the thing, that's what you do. People do it all the time. You buy a property, and that's how gentrification happens, okay? Might as well, you know, capitalize on the moment. And Magic Don, I mean, I keep calling Magic Don Juan. Don Juan seems overwhelmed with them, but the discussion was about Nene. At the end of the day, it was a business decision. It was nothing personal, but Candy was kind of sick and wrestling with it because she really does not want for her and Nene to go backwards. And then they showed the flashback of all the things that Nene and Kim, we see each other. Don't make me blow up on your ass. Oh, that shit's still funny. I said, that's a good one. They don't make me blow up on your ass. That's right, Candy. Don't make me blow up on your ass. And that's how, you know, you got to clench the teeth. That's the Candy family method of speaking, through clenched teeth. And Todd's right. It does suck that these things happen, but you got to keep it PC. You got to keep it politically correct for the masses. Comedy is comedy, but some people don't know how to take a joke. And when it comes to rape and sexual assault, sexual harassment, rape, you know, all of that, you just kind of, there's just some subjects you kind of just have to teeter, and there's a finesse to it, and not everyone has it. And Nene is still relatively new to the comedy game anyway. It's just something she jumped up. I've been doing comedy, 7 years now. I was talking to somebody, as I've been doing it for 7 years. So, I mean, and it could take you 20 years to find your voice. I've been at it 7 years, and I still don't know where my niche is. I can talk about a variety of subjects and make them funny, but is that really my voice? And honestly, Candy, at the end of the day, and I saw it, I think during this episode or a preview, but you know, Candy and Nene, there's no hard feelings. So I'm glad that that's it. Sheree in this basement, man cave, 5,000 square foot basement that she's having gutted out for entertainment purposes and parties. Tyrone is getting a man cave and she's doing all this. I'm wondering though, because you know, Tyrone has money because he was like an investor or an investment banker or whatever. So he probably stashed some money away. But he was like, "Oh, baby, you gonna go ahead and go." Talking about, you know, I'm doing this for me and Tyrone and my Tyrone. Shit, this Negro's still in prison. Like, what the hell? So there was even talk when he called of a destination wedding, and uh, the contractor but before, let me back up. The contractor was saying something about how they were rushing the project. Like, why are they rushing the project? Why are you half-assing it? Is how cheaply is this project being put together? Quite frankly, that's what I want to know. Like, how cheaply is this being put together? But of course, back to Tyrone and Sheree. What I also find fascinating, she was talking about having a destination wedding, and I'm just like, how serious is this? Like, this is like, let me tell y'all something about these phone and social media. You know, you ain't really spending no time with somebody. Tread lightly with those relationships because, honey, let me tell you, crazy knows how to hide themselves until crazy needs to come out, okay? So Tyrone might be all, "Oh baby, ooh, 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 woo, 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 I love you," and then y'all get together, the shit don't gel, and the shit go south, and you can spend all this money fixing up a house for you and him, and you gonna have to wait till the next man come along. Tread lightly, Sheree. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if there was any type of intimacy before he went in or, you know, some type of bonding period, but tread lightly. That's all I'm going to say. By the way, let me back it up real quick. I love Todd and Candy together because when Don Juan was going off, because he's stressed because he knows it's going to be his responsibility to handle a lot of the stuff that goes on at Candy's business. But it's true. Who wins at Monopoly? People with the most property. Especially as long as the taxes are paid and everything is good, you're winning. Supposedly Tyrone is supposed to get out sometime this year, but it could be another couple of years before he gets out. So there's an uncertainty there. But I'm pretty sure the feds will let him out because, number one, they love money-making individuals. It's rare that they will lock you up. People like Wesley Snipes and Mike Tyson, and I'm trying to think who else. I still don't understand how R. Kelly got his break, but Tupac and Mike Tyson had to get locked up for alleged rapes, convicted or not, still alleged. Based upon some of the facts that I heard. I don't know what type of evidence was suppressed, but let me digress. So either way, I guess Tyrone and Sheree are serious. You better call Tyrone. Call it. Tell him, come on, help you get your shit. Come on. Let's go over to the Leaks house. Brent is the baby. Brent is Greg's biological son, but of course Greg has raised both of Nene's boys. And somebody came and said something very harsh on my Twitter. I'm like, damn, you have no hope for the kids at all. Like, they're just no ambition. But Brent has decided that he wants to pursue a career in entertainment, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. Quite frankly, I think that Brent probably will end up being an entrepreneur, as in having his own record label and management company, because you know, his father is a businessman. So I'm pretty sure that things have been set up for Brent. And quite frankly, these days, college is not the only option to be part of the road for success. It helps, but honestly, when I talk to young people now, I tell them, start your own business, number one. Number two, if you do not get a full ride to a school, just go to community college and get your basics out. Make sure before doing that, make sure that the school that you really want to go to will allow those credits to transfer. It could be junior college, and then go to a state school. or if you want to go to a private institution, try to get a full ride. And if you want to go to grad school, you know, you saved enough money doing your undergraduate degree, you're fine. So, you know, they were saying that, you know, Nene really didn't prepare them to be independent or whatever. But I'm like, sometimes there's just people that are ingrained to be that way. And I think that her oldest kind of just, I mean, no ambition. I don't see it for him, but I do see a light in Brent. But she had me laughing when she was like, "We gonna get this money, but let's just stay away from Uber and Lyft jokes altogether. Just stay. Let's not talk about Uber and Lyft." So I saw that this episode kind of focused on the parents interacting with the kids, because you know you had Nene and her son, then you have Cynthia going down to the prosthodontist office where Noelle is interning because she's always had a fascination with dentistry and orthodontics and that type of thing. So this doctor, a prosthodontist, based upon context clues, because I didn't Google to look it up, but basically what he does is reconstructive surgery in the dentist area. You know, a lot of people, you know, get things smashed in, accidents, domestic violence, that type of thing. So he probably helps replace that decay. You just never know. So there's it's basically another form of being an oral surgeon or whatever. Cynthia is so proud of her daughter because she says, "My first job was working at Taco Bell." And I was like, there's nothing wrong with that. We all have first jobs. My first job was very unusual. I've been very blessed in my life. I learned how to get a job. $4.25 an hour was minimum wage then, and that's what I did one summer. I worked for the Private Industry Council out of Dallas. It was called PIC. And I still remember the green writing on the purple shirt. And they taught us young people, you know, we came from low income families, and they taught us how to get jobs. And a lot of those skills I still use to this day, 25 years later. Is it 25 years, 41, 26 years later? Yeah. In my next job, I worked in a shoe store. And then my first official intern, I worked for Bank of America in dealer finance when I was like 16, 17 years old. So I've always worked corporate or retail jobs. I've never done restaurant. I worked in my grandparents' restaurant one time, and my grandmother told me, she gave me $20 and told me don't come back. It was a disaster. That's all I'm going to say. So, Kaylee. So we had Kaylee and Sheree. Kaylee is the baby of the family. God, that girl, oh my God, she is gorgeous. Did y'all see? I mean, her skin is just fabulous, but they were talking about college. I think she's at Howard or Hampton, but she came home to visit, and I guess she's a vegetarian now. So Sheree was making her some breakfast, boiled eggs, some instant oatmeal, and some coffee. Okay. But Kaylee wanted to bring up the subject matter of what other man was in her mother's life. And sure enough, that's when she finds out about Tyrone. She shows her a picture of Tyrone. And Sheree was up front and said he's in jail. And her daughter was like, now, out of all the fish in the sea, you had to fall for the jail bait. I said, goddamn, who wrote this line for this girl? That's a good pun. That's a good pun intended. Out of the mouths of babes. Now, with the domestic violence thing, and I'm not going to minimize it, because if these women are victims, I definitely would be praying for them. You know, I am a survivor as well. I don't talk about it that often, but I survived. What was I, 23, 24? So God bless them. But I was thinking, she said they're in various stages of, Kenya was like, they're in various stages of getting out of their situations. I'm like, if these are truly domestic violence people, usually they stay under the radar. So let me shut up talking about that, because that's taking the air. But I think it's good work. I think it's wonderful that she's doing this for them. What I was kind of giving a side eye to was these stylists that had on these Kenya Moore hair care t-shirts. I was like, is there Dasani water in these bottles? Because I'm wondering if that was actual product. Oh, Kaylee said something else that I was laughing at too, and that's when she was like, yeah, girls are going to class in their sports bras, and I'm just like, who the fuck goes to class? I mean, I thought it was fascinating because I have gone and taken final exams in my PJs because it's just like, fuck it, because it's soon. Now, I didn't do that shit in law school. In law school, I was suited and booted, but in undergrad, I didn't give a fuck. I get up. I had this one particular pajama set that looked like loungewear basically. So I would just throw that on with some Nikes and throw on, and I spent a lot of time in baseball hats. And yeah, that's what I did. But either way, college kids, you know, sports bra, at least throw a jacket on. Sheree told Kayla to keep her morals. I was like, that's right, girl. So let's get into the big finale. So it's the night of Kenya's domestic violence presentation. Everyone's excited. Shamia is being featured as Cynthia's mom, and you know, Cynthia's really hoping that this provides some sort of closure to her mother for what she went through. Portia and Shamia, the first two cast members to arrive, she was wondering, you know, she hadn't seen anybody since, you know, Barcelona, and she was wondering, you know, what kind of headspace they are in. And in my mind, I just keep thinking about what Mama Joyce told Candy, like if Candy would just tell the ladies to back off and leave it alone. And then even during this wonderful night, Nene was telling her that apparently you haven't made amends because people are still talking about it. That's because y'all choose to talk about it. No one needs to talk about the issue anymore, no more. If Candy has let it go, y'all should let it go. And if Candy would speak up and say that she's let it go, end of story. Kenya was moved by Shamia's story on domestic violence so much that she feels an inkling of guilt for how she treated them in Houston during the Hurricane Harvey relief activities that they were doing. And she went, oh, it's just water under the bridge. Maybe for you it's water under the bridge, but you were abrupt, abrasive, rude, and your tantrum that you had and meltdown was totally uncalled for. And quite frankly, I think you owe all of the women at the table an apology. Perhaps it will be given at the reunion. Kenya also made mention of something about how she was hoping she was pregnant, and I'm just like, okay. And there rumors are circulating that even during the reunion that she had stated that she was pregnant, and then people were like, this is a Maury Povich moment. We have found out that that is also a lie. When Kenya got up to do her introduction and thanking people, and she says, for the people that hold me up daily, and then, oh, out of the shadows, out of nowhere, appears Mark Daly. Oh, like a unicorn, because like, he's real. Or at least this manifestation of a man is present and accounted for her. Oh my God, I just want to thank my husband. And I'm just like, girl, who cares? And everyone was like, what? He's here, you know? And I like, he might be there, but it looked like he was begrudgingly there. Like his body language showed no sign of really wanting to be there. And I'm willing to bet it was forced, and it was kind of like, for the sake of Kenya's contract, could you please just make an appearance? At least one appearance. And then when they were talking about it, they were like, oh, is Mark going to be here? You know, initially, oh my God, you know, he can't pick out his own plane ticket. And, oh my God, I have to dress him and burp him too. I was like, this man is 40 some years old, and I'm pretty sure he knows how to book a flight and pick out his own clothes. Because Portia was like, girl, and I was like, girl, half of us all feel this way. Okay, somebody came on my Twitter and said she's a fucking liar. I was like, okay. I mean, a lot of us share that opinion. Nonetheless, the PSA was very nice. The clips that they did show us, I hope that we get to see it in its entirety. And I hope that it helps save somebody. Let me tell y'all something. You can say what you want to about Kenya. She's not my favorite housewife. And that's evident in how I talk about her, and as well as, you know, my social media post. But despite whatever spirit it was done in, I think it's a great opportunity, number one, to have a dialogue about it, number two, to save a life. Because recently there was a story where a woman had ran away from her child's father, who was abusive, and she a lady out of San Bernardino, moved to Vegas to get away from him. He, convinced her to come back because she wanted to have the family structure, and he killed her. He murdered her 3 weeks after she got back. So he's going to prison, and the mama's deceased. He drowned her in the bathtub. We don't want it to come down to that. Don't be afraid to walk away. Just walk away, ladies. That's all I can say. Men that are cowards will use fear and intimidation to try to convince you to stay. And some of them, I watch enough ID channels. Some of them really do try to follow through, but people, you can be protected. Don't be afraid to walk away. So I hope that this domestic violence PSA saves a life. So afterwards, everyone was like, "Oh my God, it's so good to meet you," and da 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 da. The producers are messy as fuck. So they were asking Nene, "So do you think that they are really in love?" And then Nene said, "Kenya appears to be really in love." And I was like, I'm thinking the same thing, girl, the same thing. And correction on what I said earlier, Nene actually was telling Portia that she hasn't taken accountability for her actions when she has. Y'all need to have a conversation with Candy about that. Here's another thing to note about Kenya's husband that I found peculiar, aside from his body language. When I first saw him walk in, I thought I saw something shiny in his nose. This dude 2 years ago went out and got a nose ring, like in the Village in New York. Okay. Next week is going to be epic. Eva Marcel is celebrating her relocation to Atlanta, and she decided she's going to be the one to close out this season with the Halloween party. So I will see you back here next week, guys, for the season finale. Thank you for joining me. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, comment, thumbs up, share. Help me get to 1,000 or 4,000 impressions. So would be much appreciated. Let me know what I missed. I think I covered pretty much the entire episode, and this video is probably longer than what I wanted to be. Thank you guys for joining me. I've been Miss Sophia the Diva, and you've been all that.